Welcome to Off Grid Victory. So I'm here at a remote site, actually a relative's house, and I wanted to show you some of the figs that we've started actually in the winter. And it was this year. It was probably about, I would say roughly 3 months ago. And so you see these little sticks in the background. They're poised into the ground. Now the main fig tree that I moved was this guy. It's fairly large. You can see that, and that was, most of it was taken out by the roots in the dead of winter. And so so I did that, but the other figs that we moved, these little sticks that you see, were cuttings that I've used. And what we did here was to kind of propagate the cuttings. Let me go in on one of them. So each one of these sections was about little over 2 feet, not quite 3 feet sections, 28 inches, 30 inches, something like that. And it was cut and then put into the ground. It is about, I would say, 2/3 of this, no, I'm sorry, 2/3 of it is sticking out and 1/3 of it is underground. Now this one, you can see it's lifeless. We don't know whether it will have life or not. But what's interesting is, look at these cuttings right here. Do you see that little bit of green coming out of here? Okay, right there, you can see that. Okay, that's a fig leaf coming out of that cutting that we planted just basically straight into the ground about 3 months ago. And here's another great example. It's coming right out. And so that cutting's alive. And let's take a look at this one. This one, maybe not. And so I would love to take these out, but they might make it, so I'm not going to pull it out for you. There's another one here and another one over there. And so yeah, I took a cutting and let me show you how I did it. So let me take one that's alive. Like, I know that one's coming out. I know this one's coming out. Okay, so and the bud on that is gone, but let's say, you know what, let's take it off of this guy right here. So you see this right here? So what I did was pretend this is about 2 feet 30 inches, something like that, and then I snipped it. Now the way I would snip it is I'd have a couple of these nodes and of course the tip, and that way I know that that is a live tree in the wintertime. So in the wintertime I would take something that looked like that was dormant, but it did have a little bit of budding up there, and it had these nodules here where the leaves normally grow out. So what I would do then is just cut it diagonally like this, and I'm going to do it to this one, but just pretend this is roughly 2 feet long. I'm going to cut it diagonally like that. Now, you can see this is completely dried out and dead, but that's because this was done already in the winter time. But if let's say we pretend that it is winter, and I did go ahead and take this particular cutting, now what I need to do with this is just scrape off some of the outer layer, the cambium layer of it, to scratch it so that it would propagate or root right there. And then I would just stick it into the ground directly in, and I would put it in about 2/3, and 2/3 showing, 1/3 in the ground, or you could even go more, a half, it doesn't really matter. And that's it. You leave it like that, and in a few months you may be able to get a plant like that or like that. With these figs. Now I don't know what the percentage rate is in terms of success of taking these kind of cuttings. Let me step back for you. But so far out of these, let's see, I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cuttings that I put back here, and 2 of them are alive for sure, and I think another one will probably be alive as well. So I doubt it'll be 100% success rate, but the key was doing this in the wintertime while the fig tree was still dormant, with portions of that fig that was alive and not dead. And so yeah, you know what, let's do this too. Let's take one that we know is good. So this one right here is alive. Let's go ahead and take a little bit off that and show you the same thing. Yeah, you see how dry that was? And you see it just kind of focusing. You see how it's this thing is dead, but obviously down here is alive, and that's what we want anyway. We want that new growth. But this in the wintertime was still alive, still dormant, and now it's able to root, and now I'll be able to get some more figs out of that. And so yeah, a good way to propagate a fig tree. I would say the success rate on this venture was, you know, a little bit better than half, which is good. Well, I think it's going to be more than a half, but at any rate, yes, that's how you propagate figs, and that's the really easy way. And I was taught that by Paul Gauci from Back to Eden Garden.